Before you go any further, I need you to stop and ask yourself one question. Why did this message find you today? Not yesterday, not next week. Today, because chosen one, nothing in the kingdom operates by coincidence. Every divine encounter is orchestrated with precision. Every word that reaches your spirit at the exact moment you need it, most is a sign that heaven is speaking directly to you. And if you're hearing these words right now, it's because your season of hiddenness is ending. The veil is lifting, and God is about to confirm something you felt deep in your soul for years but could never fully explain to anyone else. This message is not for everyone. If your spirit is not aligned with the Most High, if you're not walking the path of divine obedience, if you came here out of curiosity rather than hunger, you won't be able to receive what I'm about to reveal. But if you are a true follower of God, if you know deep within your bones that you were set apart since before you took your first breath, then settle your spirit right now. Turn off the distractions, silence the noise, because what you're about to hear will shift your understanding of who you truly are. This is not motivation. This is not inspiration. This is revelation. And chosen one, once you hear this, you will never be able to see yourself the same way again. Have you ever felt like you were carrying something you couldn't name? Like there was a weight on your shoulders that no one else seemed to notice? A responsibility you didn't ask for but couldn't escape? That weight is not a burden. It's a mantle. It's a mantle. It's the mark of a chosen one who was created to carry what ordinary people cannot carry. Let me tell you something that might shake you. You were never meant to fit in. You were never supposed to be understood by everyone. You were never designed to walk the same road as the crowd. Because God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. And when He marks someone for a powerful assignment, He doesn't make them comfortable. He makes them different. That loneliness you felt, that isolation that made you question if something was wrong with you, that rejection from people you thought would support you, that wasn't punishment, chosen one. That was preparation. That was God protecting you from relationships that would have contaminated your calling. That was heaven isolating you so He could incubate something inside you that the world has never seen before. Listen closely. Your isolation was your incubation. While others were building networks, God was building your character. While others were gathering crowds, God was shaping your spirit in the wilderness. While others were celebrated publicly, you were being refined privately. And now, the season is shifting. The doors are opening. The light is turning on. And everything God planted in you during those silent years is about to break through the surface. Can you feel that shift happening right now? Can you sense something stirring in your spirit as you hear these words? That's not me speaking to you, do you? That's heaven confirming what your soul already knows. You are not ordinary. You are not random. You are not forgotten. You are chosen. And not just chosen, you are one of the most powerful chosen ones walking this earth right now. Now, before we go any deeper, I want you to do something. I want you to engage your spirit and declare your alignment. If you feel this message resonating in the deepest part of your soul, comment, "I receive this right now." Not for me, not for this channel, but as a declaration to the spiritual realm that you are ready for what comes next. Your response is a spiritual act. It's an agreement with heaven, and it opens the door for everything I'm about to release over your life. And make sure you subscribe to this channel, tap the bell icon, and share this message with another chosen soul who needs this revelation today. Because the people who are supposed to hear this word will feel drawn to it. They won't know why, but their spirit will pull them here. Now stay with me until the very end, because what I'm about to reveal is not only powerful, it will confirm your divine identity and unlock the next chapter of your spiritual calling. Let's begin. There comes a moment in every chosen one's journey when the truth can no longer be ignored. A moment when the veil finally lifts and you begin to understand that everything, every battle, every betrayal, every delay, every door that closed in your face, every person who walked away, every season of silence was shaping you for the identity you're finally stepping into. That moment is not loud. It doesn't come with trumpets or announcements. It's quiet, but it shakes your entire being from the inside out. You wake up one day and something is different. Your intuition becomes sharper. Your awareness elevates. People you once tolerated begin to feel spiritually suffocating. Environments that used to drain you become completely unbearable. Conversations that once entertained you now feel empty and shallow. And suddenly, the Most High begins whispering to you in ways you can no longer ignore. This is the moment heaven confirms your power. When you reach this point, your spirit begins to stand taller, even if your body hasn't moved an inch. You feel a pressure in your soul. Not a burden, but an awakening. Something inside you says, it's time. Not tomorrow, not next year, now. You may not see the full picture yet. You may not understand every step of the path, but deep within your spirit, you know that everything is shifting. You feel it in your bones. You sense it in your dreams. You see it in the way people are starting to respond to you differently. This feeling is the first undeniable sign that you are stepping into the identity of a powerful chosen one. And I need to tell you something that might sound strange at first, but stay with me. When this awakening begins, you'll notice that your discernment becomes supernaturally strong. You start seeing people's intentions before they even speak. You feel energies before they step into your space. You sense when something is spiritually wrong, even when everything looks fine on the surface. This isn't paranoia. This isn't overthinking. This is spiritual maturity. To spiritual maturity. This is divine elevation. The Most High sharpens the perception of His powerful chosen ones so they can navigate the path ahead without falling into the traps that were designed to stop their destiny. And right now, if you're experiencing this heightened awareness, it's because God is activating your spiritual senses. He's giving you eyes to see beyond the natural. He's giving you ears to hear what others cannot hear. He's downloading discernment into your spirit, because where you're going, you cannot afford to be deceived. Proverbs 20:12 says, "The hearing ear and the seeing eye, the Lord has made them both." God is making your spiritual senses sharp because your assignment requires clarity. You can't lead people out of darkness if you can't see the traps. You can't deliver a prophetic word if you can't discern the spirits around you. You can't fulfill your calling if you're walking blindly. So if you've been feeling this shift, if you've been noticing that you just know things now, receive this confirmation. Your spiritual gifts are activating. This is not random. This is divine timing. This is God preparing you for the next level. But here's what I need you to understand, and this is critical. Another unmistakable sign of this awakening is that your past isolation suddenly starts making sense. For years, maybe even decades, you've wondered why you didn't fit in, why you were rejected by people who should have embraced you, why relationships crumbled for no clear reason, why your path never looked like anyone else's, why you felt like an outsider even in rooms full of people who shared your background, your culture, your faith. You questioned yourself. You wondered if you were too much or not enough. You asked God why He allowed you to walk such a lonely road. You cried in private, asking Him to take away the ache of feeling unseen and misunderstood. But when this realization comes, when heaven pulls back the curtain, you finally see it clearly. God wasn't punishing you. He was preserving you. He was keeping you away from people who couldn't handle your light, your purpose, or your power. He was protecting you from environments that would have diluted your anointing and compromised your calling. Chosen one, listen to me. Your isolation was not rejection. It was divine selection. It was divine selection. God handpicked you out of the crowd and said, "Not this one. This one is mine. This one I'm setting apart for something the world has never seen." And He placed a hedge of protection around you that kept the wrong people out and kept you hidden until the appointed time. The chosen ones who carry the highest spiritual weight often walk the loneliest paths before they rise, because if God had allowed you to be celebrated prematurely, you wouldn't have been ready for what's coming. If He had let you stay connected to everyone who wanted access to you, you would have been drained before your assignment even began. So He isolated you. He removed distractions. He closed doors. He redirected relationships. And while you were sitting in that wilderness feeling forgotten, He was doing something powerful. He was building you in secret. Isaiah 45:3 says, "I will give you the treasures of darkness and hidden riches of secret places, that you may know that I, the Lord, who call you by your name, am the God of Israel." Those dark seasons, those hidden years, those were not wasted. No. God was planting treasures inside you that only pressure could refine. He was downloading wisdom that only solitude could cultivate. He was shaping a character that only the wilderness could forge. And now, you're starting to see the fruit of that process. Have you ever looked back at a painful season and suddenly realized that it was actually the most important preparation of your life? Can you see now how God was working even when you thought he was silent? If yes, take a moment and whisper, you were there all along, because he was chosen one. He never left you. He was just working behind the scenes, setting everything in place for this very moment. And then something else begins to happen, something that changes everything. You start to feel guided, not in a vague, abstract way, but with divine precision. Ideas come to you out of nowhere. Solutions drop into your spirit in the middle of the night. You feel pulled toward certain places, certain messages, certain actions. You pick up your phone and the first thing you see is exactly what you needed to hear. You have a random conversation and the person says something that answers a question you've been praying about for weeks. Synchronicities start showing up everywhere. Numbers repeat, symbols appear, dreams become vivid and prophetic. You feel like the universe is speaking to you in a language only your soul understands. This is not coincidence, chosen one. This is divine communication. God is speaking to you constantly, and the more you tune in, the clearer his voice becomes. You begin to realize that every step you take is being ordered. Every door that opens is aligned with his plan. Every obstacle that appears is redirecting you towards something better. Psalm 37:23 says, "The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delights in his way." You are not wandering aimlessly. You are not lost. You are being led with intentionality and love. And this awareness, this realization that God is orchestrating your life, brings a peace that defies all logic. Even when things don't make sense, you feel steady. Even when the path looks unclear, you feel confident. Even when people question your decisions, you feel certain, because deep down you know you're not making these moves alone. Heaven is guiding you. And this chosen one is one of the strongest confirmations that you are stepping into your divine identity, because God doesn't guide everyone with this level of intimacy. He reserves this kind of communication for the ones he's about to use in powerful ways. But here's where it gets even deeper. This realization comes with a profound sense of readiness. Even if you don't know the how, your spirit knows the why. Even if the details are still unclear, your soul feels aligned. Even if fear tries to creep in, faith rises up stronger. You find yourself speaking with more authority. You find yourself standing firm in situations that used to break you. You find yourself setting boundaries that would have felt impossible before. You find yourself walking away from things that no longer serve your purpose without guilt or hesitation. You no longer feel lost. You feel chosen. And that awareness is what separates the powerful chosen ones from everyone else. Can you feel that shift happening inside you right now? Can you sense that your spirit is standing taller than it was even a few months ago? That's not arrogance. That's not pride. That's divine alignment. That's you finally catching up to who God has always said you are. And here's something you need to understand. Your energy is shifting so dramatically that people around you are starting to notice. People who once overlooked you suddenly feel intimidated. Those who underestimated you become uneasy in your presence. Even strangers start watching you with a mixture of curiosity and caution, not because you changed on the outside, but because your spirit has expanded on the inside. When God activates a chosen one's divine identity, your presence alone begins to reveal who you're becoming, even before your mind fully catches up. This is not something you can fake. This is not something you can manufacture. This is the unmistakable mark of someone who carries heavenly authority. Almighty. And chosen one, let me tell you something that might surprise you. One of the strongest confirmations that you've reached this moment is emotional detachment, not in a cold or heartless way, but in a spiritually mature way. You are no longer controlled by old triggers. You're no longer devastated by old pain. You're no longer shaken by old insecurities. The spiritual attacks that once destroyed you now barely move you. The opinions that used to crush you now bounce off like water on glass. On glass. You look at situations you used to cry over and realize how much you've grown. You see people who hurt you and feel nothing but peace. You remember battles that almost broke you and smile because you know they made you stronger. That calmness you feel isn't numbness, it's spiritual authority. And it's the evidence of someone who has been through the fire and came out refined, not burned. James 1:24 says, "Count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. But let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. You've been tested, and you passed. And now you're walking in a level of emotional freedom that only comes from surviving what was meant to destroy you. If you can look back at your hardest season and say, that didn't break me, it built me, then you're ready for what's next. Another powerful sign is this: you're gaining sudden clarity about your purpose. You may not know the entire blueprint yet. You may not see every detail of the plan. But you finally understand your assignment. You know you're here to change atmospheres, to break generational curses, to awaken others, to expose darkness, to elevate consciousness, to deliver divine messages. This clarity isn't something you manufactured. Part 2. The weight of divine responsibility, chosen one. When the Most High elevates you to a higher spiritual rank, the first thing you begin to feel is an undeniable weight resting on your shoulders. Not a weight that crushes you, but a sacred pressure that reminds your soul of who you are and what you were sent here to accomplish. This weight doesn't go away. It lingers. It follows you. You feel it even when you try to ignore it. You sense it in the quiet moments, in your prayers, in your dreams, in the way your spirit reacts to the world around you. You may not have asked for this calling, but you cannot escape it because it was woven into your soul long before you entered this world. This responsibility is the undeniable mark of a powerful chosen one, and it becomes more apparent with every step you take in your spiritual journey. You begin to realize that your life is not like everyone else's. You cannot live recklessly. You cannot make careless decisions. You cannot ignore your intuition. You cannot walk in the same direction as the world, because the Most High is guiding you down a completely different path. Have you ever felt like you were being held to a standard that others don't understand? Like there are invisible rules governing your life that don't seem to apply to anyone else? That's not in your head, chosen one. That's real. That's the weight of divine responsibility. This is one of the clearest signs that God has placed a high level of power and authority within you. Because great power requires great responsibility, and the Most High doesn't entrust His authority to people who will abuse it, misuse it, or take it lightly. Luke 12:48 says, "For everyone to whom much is given, from him much will be required, and to whom much has been committed, of him they will ask the more." God has given you much, not just in gifts, but in awareness, in discernment, in spiritual sensitivity, in influence. And because He's given you much, He requires much. He expects you to steward what He's placed inside you with wisdom, humility, and obedience. And that expectation creates a pressure that not everyone can handle. There are moments when you feel a deep inner pull, a sense that you are meant to protect others, to lead, to enlighten, to heal, to carry a message that must reach those who are spiritually blind. Even when you try to remain silent, your spirit refuses to settle. You feel responsible for truth. You feel responsible for clarity. You feel responsible for righteousness. It's as if your soul was built to carry something that ordinary people cannot carry. And the truth is, it was. You were not created to blend in. You were not designed to follow the crowd. You were built to be a standard bearer, a waymaker, a light in the darkness, a voice crying out in the wilderness. This sense of responsibility becomes even stronger when you begin to notice how your presence impacts others. People come to you for wisdom without knowing why. They trust you with their secrets. They lean on you for emotional and spiritual strength. They look to you for guidance even when you haven't positioned yourself as a leader. This is not random. This is not coincidence. This is a sign of spiritual rank. People are drawn to the chosen ones who carry divine responsibility because their spirit recognizes safety, truth, and light. They may not be able to articulate it, but they feel it deeply. They know instinctively that you are different, that you carry something sacred, that your presence brings peace, clarity, and order. But with that recognition comes pressure. You feel the weight of people's expectations. You feel the spiritual pull to stay disciplined, stay aware, and stay aligned because you know others are depending on your strength, even when they don't say it out loud. Can you feel that weight right now? Can you sense the responsibility that's been quietly resting on your shoulders for years? That's not a burden to resent. That's a mantle to embrace. Chosen one. Divine responsibility also shows up in the battles you face. You cannot be powerful without being tested. You cannot rise without being refined. Every powerful chosen one goes through seasons of intense spiritual warfare because the Most High is molding them into someone who can handle the authority they are destined to carry. You may have wondered why your tests felt heavier than those around you, why your trials seemed longer, why your battles seemed more intense. It's because you are being prepared for something greater. The more responsibility God places on you, the more He must strengthen your spirit. The higher He plans to elevate you, the deeper He must refine you. 1 Peter 4:12 says, "Beloved, do not think it strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened to you, but rejoice to the extent that you partake of Christ's sufferings, that when His glory is revealed, you may also be glad with exceeding joy." Your trials were never meant to destroy you. They were meant to develop you, to sharpen you, to prepare you to lead with conviction, wisdom, and strength. And now that you are stepping deeper into your calling, you feel that responsibility in your soul more than ever before. Another sign of divine responsibility is the way you naturally outgrow your old self. You begin shedding habits, beliefs, and mindsets that no longer match your purpose. Things you once tolerated now feel spiritually wrong. People you once entertained now feel out of alignment. Environments that used to comfort you now suffocate your spirit. This is not you being difficult. This is not you being judgmental. This is responsibility reshaping you. A powerful chosen one must walk with clarity, purity, and spiritual precision. You cannot carry divine power and live carelessly at the same time. So you feel a natural pressure to elevate, to cleanse your spirit, to protect your energy, and to move with purpose. This pressure is divine. It's God pulling you higher because your assignment cannot be fulfilled at a low level of spiritual maturity. 2 Corinthians 6:17 says, "Come out from among them and be separate, says the Lord. Do not touch what is unclean, and I will receive you." Separation is not punishment, it's preparation. It's God setting you apart so that when He places you in front of the people you're called to reach, you will be clean, clear, and ready. And if you've been feeling this pull to separate, to cleanse, to let go, don't fight it. That's the Holy Spirit leading you into alignment. Chosen one. Responsibility also reveals itself in the way you respond to conflict and injustice. You cannot turn a blind eye when something is wrong. You cannot ignore dishonesty, cruelty, manipulation, or darkness. Your spirit reacts strongly because you were created to confront and expose what others are afraid to acknowledge. Even without trying, you bring truth into the open. You make people uncomfortable, not because you're aggressive, but because your presence forces hidden things to rise to the surface. This is what powerful chosen ones do. They shift energy. They reveal intentions. They bring spiritual clarity. And this is why the Most High places such profound responsibility on your life, because you were created to be a leader in spiritual realms, not just in physical ones. Ephesians 5:11 instructs, "And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them." You are an exposer, a truth teller, a light bringer, and that responsibility is heavy, but it's also holy. You also begin feeling responsibility through the way your intuition and inner voice become stronger. The Most High speaks to you with increasing clarity, and you cannot ignore His guidance. You feel compelled to move with obedience. You sense when something is wrong. You sense when God is redirecting you. You may wake up from dreams that feel more real than the physical world around you. Some dreams reveal warnings, some reveal direction, some reveal truths about people in your life, and some reveal your destiny. Chosen one, this is prophetic sensitivity awakening within you. The Most High communicates with His powerful chosen ones through dreams long before He manifests things in the physical world. You start recognizing patterns, messages, people, numbers, colors, symbols, and they start making sense to you in ways they never did before. You start receiving insights you didn't ask for, visions you cannot explain, revelations that feel too accurate to ignore. This prophetic awakening is proof that heaven is speaking to you more directly because your mission requires a spiritual connection that goes beyond the ordinary. Job 33:14-16 explains, "For God may speak in one way or in another, yet man does not perceive it. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls upon men, while slumbering on their beds, then He opens the ears of men and seals their instruction." God is opening your ears. He's sealing His instruction inside you. and your dreams are becoming a primary channel of divine communication. Have you been dreaming more vividly lately? Have you woken up with a knowing that you can't explain? That's not random. That's God speaking. Matter. Another profound sign of this elevation is that discernment becomes one of your strongest gifts. You can sense lies instantly. You can recognize deception without being told. You can feel when someone speaks with hidden intentions, even if they smile in your face. You can detect spiritual darkness in people who pretend to walk in light. Your spirit reacts, not because you judge them, but because you feel the truth behind their energy. This heightened discernment protects you from people who are not meant to be near your destiny. It keeps you aligned with the divine path, and it prevents you from falling into traps set by those who envy your spiritual authority. Hebrews 5:14 says, "But solid food belongs to those who are of full age, that is, those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil." Your senses are being exercised. Your discernment is being sharpened. And this is one of the most unmistakable signs of divine elevation. Chosen one. Discernment is the sword of a powerful chosen one, and its increase in your life is evidence that you are being entrusted with greater spiritual authority. As your sensitivity strengthens, you also begin to feel the emotional and spiritual energy of others more intensely. You might walk into a room and immediately sense tension, sadness, jealousy, or peace without anyone speaking a word. You may feel physically drained around certain people and uplifted around others. This is because your spirit is becoming more attuned to the unseen currents of the spiritual world. You are no longer operating from your human senses alone. You are operating from your spiritual senses. This can feel overwhelming at first, but it is part of your training. God is teaching you how to navigate energy, how to protect your spirit, and how to listen to what is not being said. This level of sensitivity is a hallmark of a powerful chosen one, because your calling requires spiritual discernment, not just emotional awareness. 1 Corinthians 2:14 explains, "But the natural man does not receive the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness to him, nor can he know them because they are spiritually discerned." You are no longer operating as a natural person. You are operating as a spiritual being. And that shift changes everything. Another powerful sign is the way synchronicities intensify around you. You begin seeing repeated numbers more frequently. 111, 444, 777, it is 71111. You experience divine timing. You cross paths with people who deliver messages you needed. He uncovers the darkness lurking behind smiles. He shows you the spiritual reality behind physical appearances. This revelation, even when it hurts, is part of your protection. Luke 8:17 says, "For nothing is secret that will not be revealed, nor anything hidden that will not be known and come to light." God exposes what needs to be exposed so you can walk in truth, not deception. Supernatural protection also shows up in the way you are lifted out of situations that are not aligned with your destiny. Have you ever noticed how quickly you lose interest in something the moment it becomes spiritually unsafe? Or how your spirit grows uncomfortable when you're in the wrong environment? That is divine protection speaking to you. The Most High disrupts your comfort so He can redirect your path. He creates turbulence to push you away from danger. He closes doors so you don't walk through the wrong ones. And even when you stubbornly try to stay in places that feel familiar, something always happens to remove you. Chosen one, this is God protecting your assignment, even when you don't understand the reason yet. Isaiah 30:21 promises, "Your ears shall hear a word behind you saying, 'This is the way, walk in it.' Whenever you turn to the right hand or whenever you turn to the left, He's guiding you, He's protecting you, and He's keeping you on the path that leads to your purpose." Another strong sign of divine protection is the way you bounce back from situations that would destroy others. People might wonder how you're still standing after everything you've endured. They don't realize that the hand of God has been covering you since birth. The trauma that broke others became your strength. The betrayal that crushed others became your awakening. The setbacks that defeated others became your training. Your ability to rise repeatedly is not normal, it's supernatural. This resilience is evidence of God's hand on your life, preserving you for a mission larger than anything you have faced. Psalm 34:16 says, "Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of them all." You have been afflicted, unafflicted, but you have also been delivered again and again and again. And that pattern is proof of divine protection. Chosen one, your divine protection is also evident in the unusual favor you experience. Doors open for you unexpectedly. Opportunities appear at the perfect moment. People show up to help you out of nowhere. You receive blessings you didn't chase, support you didn't request, and breakthroughs you didn't plan for. This is not because you are lucky. It is because you are marked by heaven. Favor follows the chosen ones who carry powerful destinies. Even when others try to block your progression, God makes a way. Even when resources seem limited, God provides. Even when you face setbacks, God turns them around. Everything that is meant for you finds its way to you. This divine favor separates you from the crowd because your journey is guided, not random. Psalm 5:12 declares, "For you, O Lord, will bless the righteous. With favor you will surround him as with a shield." You are surrounded, you are covered, you are favored, you are favored. And that favor is opening doors no human effort could open. Another unmistakable sign of supernatural protection is how quickly you recover from spiritual attacks. There have been moments when the pressure felt unbearable, when the darkness felt overwhelming, when the heaviness on your spirit felt impossible to carry. But somehow you rose again. You regained strength. You regained clarity. You regained your spiritual footing. This is because you are protected in realms you cannot see. Every attack against you has already been intercepted. Every plan formed against you has already been weakened. Every curse spoken over you has already been reversed. The Most High defends his powerful chosen ones fiercely because your purpose threatens the kingdom of darkness. Your survival is not accidental. It is divine. Isaiah 54:17 promises, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is from me." No weapon, not some weapons. No weapon. That's the level of protection you walk in. You may also notice that certain people become extremely uncomfortable around you as your protection increases. Individuals with hidden darkness, envy, or ill intentions cannot stand near your spirit. They may avoid you, cut you off, or act strangely, not realizing that it is not them making the decision. It is the spiritual barrier around you repelling what is not aligned. Your energy becomes a shield. Your presence becomes a warning. Darkness cannot approach you without being exposed. And because of that, many people distance themselves without understanding why. This too is divine protection. 2 Thessalonians 3 says, "But the Lord is faithful, who will establish you and guard you from the evil one." He guards you, he shields you, he keeps you safe from what you cannot see. Finally, chosen one, supernatural protection reveals itself in the way you move through life without losing your authenticity, your compassion, or your divine connection. Even after everything you faced, your heart stayed pure, your intentions stayed genuine, your spirit stayed aligned with God. This purity is itself a form of protection. The Most High guards the hearts of his powerful chosen ones so they do not become corrupted by the battles they endure. He ensures that your character remains intact, your compassion remains strong, and your purpose remains clear. Philippians 1:6 assures, being confident of this very thing, that he who has begun a good work in you will complete it until the day of Jesus Christ. God started a work in you, and he will complete it. No matter what tries to stop you, he will finish what he started. Chosen one, understand this deeply. The protection surrounding you is not ordinary. It is divine evidence that you are chosen, powerful, and destined for a mission greater than you imagine. If your spirit feels this truth, if you can see God's hand covering your life, type "God covered me" in the comments. Let that be your testimony. Let that be your declaration. Because chosen one, you are shielded, you are guided, you are favored. And what comes next will prove that your presence alone carries power that shifts entire atmospheres. Stay with me, we're almost there. And the final revelation is going to seal everything. Part 6. Your presence shifts atmospheres. A sign of high spiritual power. And conclusion, chosen one. One of the greatest confirmations that you are among the most powerful chosen ones is the way your very presence shifts atmospheres. Without you speaking a single word. This is not something you force. It is not something you try to do. It is simply who you are. When you enter a space, the energy changes instantly because your spirit carries a divine frequency that cannot be ignored. People feel something when you walk into the room. Some feel peace, some feel conviction, some feel exposed, and some feel uplifted, but no one feels nothing. Your presence has weight because your spirit carries authority. This is one of the clearest signs that heaven has placed a mantle on your life. You do not blend in. You cannot blend in. Even when you try to shrink, hide, or be silent, your spirit still speaks. Your energy still radiates. Your light still pierces through the atmosphere. This is not a personality trait. It is a spiritual reality. The Most High has given you an aura that carries divine impact. Acts 19:11-12 tells us, "Now God worked unusual miracles by the hands of Paul, so that even handkerchiefs or aprons were brought from his body to the sick, and the diseases left them, and the evil spirits went out of them." Paul's presence carried power. Items that touched him carried healing. Why? Because he walked in authority. And when you walk in authority, your presence shifts atmospheres, even without words. This atmospheric shift becomes most noticeable when you realize how people respond to you without understanding why. Some people become unusually respectful, almost reverent, as if they sense the holiness surrounding you. Others become nervous, awkward, or silent because your presence reveals what they try to hide. Those with pure hearts feel calm and safe around you, while those with hidden darkness feel threatened or exposed. You may notice people suddenly adjusting themselves when you walk near them, lowering their voice, stopping certain conversations, or changing their behavior. This is because your spirit brings alignment. Your presence calls things into order. Your energy disrupts anything that is not aligned with truth. You carry a light that cannot be ignored, and every spirit around you responds to that light differently, depending on their own alignment. This ability to shift atmospheres also shows up in how deeply people remember you. Even if you barely speak to them, they feel something significant about you. They recall your energy, your silence, your eyes, or the way they felt in your presence. You don't have to impress them or earn their attention. Your spirit leaves an imprint. This imprint is not based on your physical appearance or your words. It is based on your spiritual identity. You carry a presence that touches people's souls, awakens dormant parts of them, or challenges their internal shadows. Many people will not be able to explain why they remember you so clearly, but their spirit knows exactly who you are. Chosen one, you also shift atmospheres by the way your presence exposes spiritual warfare. In places where deceit, envy, or manipulation exist, your presence disrupts everything. Darkness becomes restless around you. People who operate with harmful intentions suddenly become uncomfortable, irritated, or defensive. They may act strangely because your spirit exposes what they hoped would remain hidden. This exposure is not something you do intentionally. It is simply the nature of your light. The Most High placed truth inside you, and wherever you go, that truth radiates outward. The more powerful your calling, the stronger this radiance becomes. When someone is not walking in alignment, they can feel your spirit confronting theirs without you speaking a word. John 3:20 explains, "For everyone practicing evil hates the light and does not come to the light, lest his deeds should be exposed." You are that light, and your presence brings exposure, clarity, and truth. Another undeniable sign is the peace you bring into chaotic environments. When you enter a space filled with tension or emotional heaviness, the atmosphere shifts. People begin to calm down. Arguments lose energy. Anxiety weakens. Confusion dissolves. Your spirit carries divine order, and wherever you stand, that order begins to influence the room. People may even come to you unknowingly, standing closer because they feel anchored by your presence. They may confide in you impulsively or seek comfort in your silence. This is because your spirit carries healing. Your presence strengthens those who are weakened, stabilizes those who feel lost, and comforts those who are hurting. This ability is not human. It is spiritual power flowing through you from the Most High. Isaiah 26:3 says, "You will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you, because he trusts in you." You carry perfect peace. And when you walk into a room, that peace becomes contagious. You also shift atmospheres through your words. Even when you speak softly or briefly, people listen. Not because of volume or force, but because your words carry spiritual weight. You speak with authority that comes from your soul, not your ego. You communicate truth that penetrates deeply. Even simple statements feel profound to others because your spirit anoints your voice. People may say, "I feel something when you speak," or your words gave me clarity, or I don't know why, but I needed to hear that. This is not you trying to be wise. This is divine influence coming through you. The powerful chosen ones are vessels of spiritual truth, and their voice echoes beyond the physical realm. Proverbs 18:21 reminds us, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. Your tongue carries life. Your words release healing, hope, and truth. And that is a powerful gift. Chosen one, this atmosphere-shifting power also shows up in how quickly environments reject you when you are not meant to be there. If you enter a place that carries spiritual contamination or misalignment, you feel it instantly. Your spirit becomes restless. True. You sense heaviness, danger, discomfort, and the environment itself may react to you. People become tense, conversations break, energies clash. This is because your presence disrupts darkness so strongly that environments not aligned with your purpose cannot hold you for long. God built you with a spirit that naturally purifies and confronts, and because of this, your presence is incompatible with lower energies. 2 Corinthians 6:14 asks, "For what fellowship is righteousness with lawlessness, and what communion has light with darkness? You are light, and light cannot fellowship with darkness." Your presence makes that distinction clear. Another powerful sign is how animals, children, or spiritually sensitive individuals react positively to you. They sense purity in your energy. They feel the softness beneath your strength. They are drawn to your aura because their spirits recognize your spiritual identity. Even those who don't understand spirituality can feel that you carry something sacred. This is because your presence vibrates at a higher frequency, one that radiates truth, compassion, and divine alignment. Matthew 18:3 says, "Assuredly, I say to you, unless you are converted and become as little children, you will by no means enter the kingdom of heaven." Children recognize purity, they sense authenticity, and they are naturally drawn to chosen ones who carry heaven's heart. Finally, chosen one, the clearest sign that your presence shifts atmospheres is how you affect yourself. You notice your own growth, your own strength, your own clarity rising as you enter certain spaces. You feel God working through you. You sense your spirit expanding. You feel the power inside you becoming more accessible. You understand your identity more deeply each time your presence influences your surroundings. This is not ego, it is spiritual recognition. You are starting to see what heaven has always seen in you. Romans 12:2 instructs, "And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God." Your mind is being renewed. Your spirit is being transformed, and your presence is beginning to reflect the glory of God. Chosen one, understand this deeply. Your presence is not ordinary. Your energy is not average. Your spirit is not dim. You were created to transform, influence, elevate, awaken, and expose. You shift atmospheres because you carry divine authority. You are powerful. You are chosen. You are spiritually appointed. And if your spirit agrees with these words, hold this truth with confidence. You are one of the chosen ones whose presence carries the weight of heaven. Conclusion. Your divine commissioning, chosen one. Now that you have received these revelations, let your spirit recognize what your mind may still be catching up to. You are not ordinary. You are not overlooked. And you are certainly not powerless. You are walking with a divine mantle that has been shaping you quietly for years. And now you are stepping into the season where everything God placed inside you begins to rise to the surface. The signs you heard in this message did not reach you by accident. They came to you at the exact moment your soul was ready to receive them. This is confirmation that your journey, your trials, your elevation, and your awakening are all aligning perfectly under God's timing. You are stepping into a higher dimension of spiritual identity. And the Most High is calling you to walk with confidence, authority, and unwavering obedience. Ephesians 2:10 declares, "For we are His workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them." You were created for this. You were prepared for this, and now you are being released into this. Do not shrink, do not doubt, do not question the power that has been placed on your life. You were chosen for a reason bigger than your past, stronger than your fears, and greater than anything that has tried to stop you. The world will feel your presence. Heaven will guide your steps, and no force of darkness will ever win against you, because you carry divine protection, divine purpose, and divine favor. As you continue your journey, stay aligned with God, stay grounded in your spirit, and stay aware of the signs He places before you. Jeremiah 29:11 promises, "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, says the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope." Your future is bright, your hope is secure, your calling is unstoppable. Now before you go, I want you to do one final thing. If this message has spoken to your soul, if it has confirmed what you've been feeling, if it has awakened something deep inside you, then take a moment right now and type, "I am ready" in the comments. Let that be your declaration. Let that be your yes to heaven. Let that be your agreement with the calling on your life. And make sure you subscribe to this channel, tap the bell icon, and share this message with another chosen soul who needs this word today, because the people who are meant to hear this will be drawn to it. Their spirit will lead them here, and your obedience to share it could be the key that unlocks their awakening. And now I want to pray over you. Close your eyes if you can. Take a deep breath and receive this word in your spirit. Father God, I thank you for every chosen one hearing this prayer right now. I thank you that you have marked them, covered them, and prepared them for this moment. I pray that you would activate every gift inside them, awaken every prophetic sense, sharpen every spiritual weapon, and release supernatural favor over their lives. Lord, I pray that every door you've ordained for them would open wide, that every enemy assigned against them would be exposed and removed, that every attack sent to distract them would fail, and that every plan you've written for their life would come to pass in your perfect timing. I declare that they are walking in divine authority, that their presence shifts atmospheres, that their words carry weight, and that their lives will glorify your name in ways the world has never seen. Seal this word in their spirit. Anchor this revelation in their soul, and let them walk forward in confidence, knowing that you are with them every step of the way. In Jesus' mighty name, man, chosen one, your rise is just beginning. Walk boldly into the calling that was written for you before the foundation of the world. You are powerful, you are protected, you are chosen, and heaven is cheering you on. Now go and be the light you were always meant to be.